everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see you guys coming on into the webinar. As you join us, drop in the chat where you guys are watching from. We would love to know where our members are located so we can see that we're worldwide in some instances. San Francisco, Charlotte, Tennessee. Hey, there's a Tennessee there, Emily.
That's where
There
I
you go.
live,
What part
Franklin,
of
Tennessee.
where in Tennessee are you?
I'm in Franklin, 20 minutes outside
Oh,
Nashville.
she's in Franklin, whoever that is.
That's my
Catherine. You know her? Okay, great. Okay, good. If you didn't know each other, now you need to know each other. Oh, she's in your office. Okay. Well, look, she's going to steal all of your expertise today on this call.
go for it.
Um, that's okay. We believe at Lab Code Agents that the more you share, the more that only levels you up to do better.
Yep,
That's what I always say.
100% agree.
Cool. Hey, are we live on Facebook? Let me know, Manch. All right, sweet. Okay, let's get started. I'm Nick Baldwin, co-founder of Lab Coat Agents. We have a really awesome webinar for you today. We've got Emily Peckham here with Keller Williams in Franklin, Tennessee. And Emily, you've been in the business for a very short time. How long? 5, 6 years?
5 years, yeah.
5 years. Okay. And Emily's business, most of it, if maybe at least half of it, is from
Yep.
FSBOs. And when you got licensed, you just kind of hit the ground running with for sale by owners, which when we were talking earlier before we went on, I thought that why would you want to expose yourself to such torture as a new agent? Because most people think, oh my God, FSBOs, I don't know what to say. Well, you sold
Yeah.
34 homes your first year, and 30 of them were for sale by owners.
Yeah. 36 and 30 were for sale by owners.
And then you sold 104 homes the following year, and
Yep.
50 of
50
them.
of
So
those.
half of those were for sale by owners, right?
Yep.
Okay. And now you've sold total, how many homes have you sold total?
This week I will have sold just shy of 300.
And half of those were for sale by owners. So
Yep.
50% of your business is FSBOs. I'm just assuming like the other 50% is probably referrals and repeat, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to show you today, Emily is going to show us all of her secrets, not all of them, but a good amount of them, on how she was able to just kind of jump right into for sale by owners as a fresh new agent and make it 50% of her business. I have never met an agent whose business was 50% FSBOs. I personally have never. Drop in the chat if you've ever met someone who does a FSBO business at that level, because I have never met someone who does that. And I just want to hand it over to you, Emily, because you're going to give us a presentation to answer all of our questions, because there are lots of questions already, probably before you even started. So
Yeah.
go ahead. I will be monitoring the chat if there's any questions, and I will be chiming in occasionally with questions
Okay.
of my own. So FSBO
Absolutely.
Fortune, let's get it going.
All right. Thank you for having me, Nick. Yep. And feel free to interject with any questions. I'm excited to be here. When I first got my real estate license in August of 2018, I did not know where to start. I had just graduated college in May of 2018. I got married in June of 2018. I moved to Nashville in July of 2018, and I got my real estate license in August of 2018. So I was just 23 years old, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I remember walking into a class at my market center, Ignite, and it was being taught by a mentor or a friend, now a mentor and friend of mine, Joe Sheeran. And he was talking about for sale by owners. And in that moment, all of a sudden, I felt like, oh my gosh, I have found my answer, right? I'm brand new to the city. I don't know anybody. My husband, at the time, he was in the music industry. None of his friends were buying houses. And so for sale by owners just made sense. And so I started calling them. And like I said, I didn't know what to say, didn't have any scripts memorized, but I knew that I needed to take action. And so I picked up the phone, I started calling for sale by owners, and next thing you know, I had sold 36 homes my first year of real estate,
You
30 of
picked up
which
the
were for sale by
100-pound phone.
yeah, the 100-pound phone. And again, I literally did not know what the heck I was saying. Like I had no scripts memorized at that point. Um,
That's so good.
and it's like my second year of real estate, I sold over 100 homes, and 50 of those were for sale by owners. So I feel super, super grateful to have found a niche in an industry that can be really challenging. And I'm here to share a lot of what I've learned with you so that hopefully you can change the trajectory of your business and your life as well. The success that I've had in real estate has opened doors in my life that I never really thought were possible. My husband and I bought our first property in April of 2021, and we now own 8 investment properties. We
Holy
just took off last year.
smokes. Good for you.
We've reinvested that money. We took off last year and traveled for about 8 months in our RV, took a little sabbatical. And then I came
Wow.
home, and I have a 6-month-old daughter now. And so what I love about real estate and calling for sale by owners is I now have the flexibility and the freedom in my life to choose what I want to do and how I want to do it. And I've been able to give back, and I really believe that we're building a legacy for our family and for future generations too. And guys, I really believe that you can have that success with for sale by owners too. So my hope for you in taking this class is that you're able to implement the tools that we learned today and change, like I said, the trajectory of your business. Now, whether that means that you want to add, for sale by owner pipeline to your deal or your volume each quarter, or you want to make it your main source of business, like I did, there's no wrong answer, right? And at the end of this class, you'll have an opportunity to sign up for my master course. I wish I had time to cover everything today, but there will be a more in-depth class. But guys, I have had people who have taken this 60-minute class and have called me and said, I listed a for sale by owner just from taking this. So buckle up, because there is a ton of value here. So as a reminder, we always want to make sure that we are staying compliant with the TCPA Act, and that you are following the do not call list. If you have any specific questions about the do not call list, you need to talk to your broker. So make sure that we are listening and adhering to that. So why pursue for sale by owners? Why was I crazy enough to do such a thing, right? For me, I was brand new to a city, right? Didn't have a sphere of influence. So I called for sale by owners for that reason. It also takes very, very little money to call for sale by owners. You're not having to spend money on, Zillow leads. You're not having to spend money on ads on social media. It's free to call for sale by owners. Number 2, it takes very little time, right? I make all my phone calls starting at 8 o'clock every single morning. From about 8 to 8:30, I'm calling the new FSBOs. There's usually about 3 or 4 in our market every single day. And then I do my follow-up with FSBOs from about 8:30 to 9 o'clock, 1 hour, right? And that's obviously not including listing appointments. But it takes very, very little time to pursue for sale by owners. They're easy to find. They're on Zillow, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, for salebyowner.com. But guys, these are literally people, and this goes into the next point as well, motivated quick sale, who are raising their hand and they're saying, I want to sell my house. I just don't see the value in hiring a realtor. And so it's our job to show them the value in hiring a real estate agent. So when I sat down and I thought about, what are the reasons that I've had success with for sale by owners? And one of the first things that popped up into my mind was my mindset. Guys, I have developed the mindset over the last several years that I am the best realtor in Middle Tennessee. And if I go on an appointment with a for sale by owner, or anyone for that matter, and they do not choose to work with me, then they're missing out on the superior service that I can offer them. So if you ask me what my mindset is, every time that I pick up the phone to call for sale by owner, or that I walk into an appointment, it is that I am the best real estate agent in Middle Tennessee. All right, so let's talk about some facts around for sale by owners that I think will help to inspire you and to boost your confidence around calling them and your mindset around calling them. So let's talk about some for sale by owner facts. Number 1 is that 80% of for sale by owners will list their home within the first 3 weeks of listing their home as a for sale by owner. That is a ridiculously high percentage, right? So many for sale by owners that I end up working with, I call them the very first morning that their home hit the market, and I set an appointment with them that morning, okay? So my biggest takeaway from this is do not wait to call a for sale by owner. A lot of agents will ask me, hey, how long should I wait between the time that they listed and that I call them? Call them immediately, right? Do not wait to call them. In fact, I will, like I said, I call every morning at 8 a.m., but I'll also have an alert set up on Zillow that I get an email to my inbox anytime a new for sale by owner hits the market.
Oh, that's a
And
really good
99,
piece of that's a very good piece of advice right there.
yep,
You know?
99% of the time, I'm the very first real estate agent to call that for sale by owner. And so some for sale by owners will literally list their home with me because they said, Emily, I'm not ready to list right now, but when I do, it'll be with you because you were the very first person that reached out to me. Right. So don't wait to call them. Your mindset needs to be that this sell by owner is going to list their home with somebody. It's either going to be with you or it's going to be with someone else. Right. Number two is that according to the National Association of Realtors, the median sales price for sale by owner homes is 15% less than that of those who were listed with a professional real estate agent. So guys, that means that you can actually charge your commission and the for sale by owner can still save rough 9% by hiring you, right? And I did not make that statistic up. That is according to the National Association of Realtors. Number three is that for sale by owners attract less than 10% of buyers in the marketplace. Guys, when was the last time that you had a buyer who came to you and said, I want a 3-bed, 2-bath home in now, and you said, great, let me just go on Zillow. I'm going to search all the for sale by owner listings and find you what you're looking for, right? Now, of course, we want to find our buyers a home that they're looking for, whether that be for sale by owner or listed on the MLS. But quite honestly, most of the time, there's not many times where I'm not able to find what the buyer is looking for on the MLS. So FSBOs attract less than 10% of buyers that are in the marketplace. And then number four, they are the absolute fastest way to make a sale in this industry, along with maybe expireds. I once called a for sale by owner on a Monday morning. I set the appointment that night and then listed the home. I got photos scheduled for the next morning, which is a Tuesday. I listed the home Tuesday afternoon. We had a showing on Tuesday night, and it was a cash buyer who paid full price for the property. And 2 weeks later, I got paid a commission, right? How crazy awesome is that? Okay. Now let's talk about some of the problems that for sale by owners face. And I want you guys to put it in the chat because I think that this will help to boost our mindset around for sale by owners. There's a lot of problems that they have, right? So go ahead and put it in the chat. What are some of the problems that for sale by owners have being listed for sale by owner? Lack of exposure. Yep. What else? Photography. Yep. They
Photography.
might not.
Yeah, well, not very
Big
good
one.
photography. Oh,
Yeah, no.
probably I would say like um uh, the time that they have to show the property. I mean, many of them work. So there's
Yes.
a lot of time where the house could be shown and it's not.
Yep. Security, showings, not experienced negotiator, all the paperwork, right? Yeah, there are so many things. I wrote down lack of exposure in marketing, dealing with bargaining hunters, unqualified buyers, looky-loos, security concerns, legal liability, negotiation skills. Guys, I cannot tell you how many for sale by owners I have spoken with that accepted a home sale contingency without a right of first refusal because they had no idea that such a thing even existed.
They have the nicest, they
Emotion.
have the nicest, most expensive house on the block.
Yeah, yeah. Pricing, right? This is not their full-time job. How are they going to do coordinating with showings,
Right.
with realtors, inspectors, appraisers, the other title company? How about being emotionally uninvolved or too emotionally involved in the transaction? There are a ton of sales that I have been a part of that had I not been present to kind of keep the emotions at bay, then that deal might have blown up, right? So there are so many problems that for sale by owners face that we need to be prepared to show them our value in each of these problems. So I want to share a quick story with you guys about the very first for sale by owner home that I ever listed. It was my first week as a real estate agent. I did not have business cards. I did not have signs. I did not know what the heck I was doing. But I went on to Craigslist and I found a for sale by owner. And he was actually located nearby the apartment complex that I was living at the time. It was obvious that the home was very overpriced, given its condition. And I called the owner. His name was Mr. Phillips. And guys, remember, this is my first week as a real estate agent. So I did not have any scripts memorized. I literally just picked up the phone and I called him and I said, "Hey, Mr. Phillips, this is Emily Peckham. Do you need any help selling your home?" And he said, "Nope, I sure don't." And so I kept calling him every single day, and it became a running joke between the two of us. And I'd say, "Hey, Mr. Phillips, are you ready to list your house with me?" And he'd say, "Nope, not yet." "Okay, I'll call you." So I called him the next day. "Hey, Mr. Phillips, are you ready to list your house with me?" So finally, I offered to host an open house for him. And I hosted the open house, called him afterwards, and I shared the results. They weren't great. A lot of looky-loos and neighbors that were stopping by. And finally, he said, "All right, I'm ready to list my house with you." And so I met him and his wife. And
How long did that
at this
take
point,
for the first phone call to that point?
about 2 weeks.
Oh, that's not very long.
It wasn't very long. Yeah. Three max, 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I prepared like this PowerPoint. Probably took me 5 hours to create it. I had no idea what the heck I was doing or what I was going to say to him. And it was nothing special. It was not what it is today. And I remember my hand is like literally like shaking going to sign the listing agreement. But he listed the home with me, and then I drove straight back to the office, and I was like, "Okay, now what? Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. How do I get this home on the MLS?" So guys, the point is that, I did not have some fancy listing presentation. I did not have a fancy script when I was calling him, but I picked up the phone and I just started calling, right? And so I think sometimes the difference between someone that is going to have success with this or with anything is just simply implementing, right? I think a lot of us get caught up in like, "Oh, I've got to have all of this together before I start." And they get so caught up in that they actually never start doing whatever it is. So let's talk about some tips for calling for sale by owners. Tip number 1 is just pick up the phone and start calling them. Tip number 2 is to get used to being told no, guys. Nick asked me before this, like, what led me to choose for sale by owners? Well, for me, I grew up, I was a soccer player. I ended up playing soccer in college, and I did a lot of fundraising. So I did door-to-door sales, and I used to tell my mom if I could just get them to answer the phone or answer the door, then I could probably sell them something. But I had a lot of doors slammed in my face, and then I did cold calling for insurance in college. And gosh, I don't know if there's anything worse than that. So I will tell you that the more that you do it, it is time on task. You are going to get used to being told no. And don't get offended, right? Like, do you really think that the for sale by owner listed their home so that they could hear from 50 real estate agents in a day? Probably not, right? So sometimes they're not always super happy to hear from us. But we'll share the script later on in this call. And I'll kind of share with you how I lighten that conversation and build a little bit of rapport with a for sale by owner. But remember that in each no, it's a chance for us to learn a little bit more, for us to get further along in the conversation with that for sale by owner. It's a chance for us to study our process and improve our craft. And I can promise you that a yes is not far away. Tip number 3 is to invest in a good dialer. I use Redex as my dialer. It allows me to get get through more contacts quicker. And feel free to message me. I'm happy to give you more information on that. But using a great dialer is going to speed up the process for you, and you'll get through a lot more contacts, which ultimately means more conversations and more listing appointments. Now, if you are not ready to invest in a dialer, perfectly fine. You can just find all your for sale by owner leads primarily on Zillow is honestly where I find most of them. And I would just recommend that you have some type of Excel sheet where you're plugging them into Command as a follow-up system of when you last contacted them, what the conversation was, when you need to contact them again, right? So you need to have some type of follow-up system. We're going to talk a little bit about follow-up here in a little bit. Like I said earlier, you can also have a separate email that is just dedicated to for sale by owners and create an alert, a saved search on Zillow anytime that a new for sale by owner hits the market. That way you can be the very first person to call them, which might literally be the thing that gets you the listing, right? Number 4 is be enthusiastic. So I recommend that you all make every single phone call standing up in front of a mirror, and that you are smiling, and that you are professionally dressed, right? that is going to make a huge difference in the way that you are presenting yourself. I once called a gentleman, his name was Mr. Lane, and this was not a for sale by owner. I was circle prospecting, and gosh, maybe 1 out of every 10 people picked up the phone, and sometimes I got hung up on, sometimes they said some curse words. So I get it, right? Cold calling, not always fun. So when I called him that morning, I was standing up, I was smiling, and I said, "Hey, is this Mr. Lane? This is Emily Peckham with Keller Williams. How are you doing today?" And turns out that Mr. Lane had a home to sell. And about 3 weeks later, he listed his home with me. And a couple weeks after that, he called me and he said, "Emily, I want you to know that the reason that I hired you is because when you called me, I could tell that there was something different about you. I could hear you smiling over the phone. You were different from a lot of the cold calls that I got in the past, and I could tell that you had enthusiasm for your job. And so I listed my home with you for that reason." So I know that we always hear that cold calling is dead and it's the old way of doing business. And the reality is, though, guys, it does still work. And if you are going to do it, though, you need to stand out by having enthusiasm for your job. Last but not least, we just kind of mentioned this, but dress for success. So imagine that you roll out of bed, you start making your FSBO calls at 8 o'clock, but you roll out of bed at 7:45. You haven't brushed your teeth, you haven't had any coffee yet, you got crusties in your eyes, you're still in your sweatpants, and you're like, okay, it's 8 o'clock, I gotta make my FSBO calls. Okay, now imagine the reverse. You woke up at 6:30, 7 o'clock, you had a cup of coffee, you maybe spent some time in gratitude or doing your affirmations, you're dressed for success. I'm always dressed like I'm about to go on an appointment,
Because
and you
you never
log
know
in.
when you might have one.
Exactly. And that's one of the important things about for sale by
You might have
owners
a
is that
FSBO
you've got to,
say, if you can get over here in 15 minutes, I'll give you the listing. You might have that happen.
yeah, you very well could. I mean, a lot of the appointments I go on are that same day. I set the appointment that morning. I'm going as soon as I possibly can, because there are so many other real estate agents calling that I want a face-to-face meeting with them as soon as my schedule allows. So if you are dressed, ready to go, you're going to have a lot more confidence when you are calling these for sale by owners. So that's some tips on calling for sale by owners. Let's talk a little bit about memorizing your scripts. Guys, memorizing your scripts is probably the most important thing that you can do. And we talk about mindset. Having your scripts memorized, it's what's going to give you confidence. It is the most critical thing that you can do to have success with for sale by owners. So when I first got my real estate license, I would practice scripts for at least an hour per day. I would do, or probably even closer to 2 hours a day, honestly. I would practice for 30 minutes in the morning with a role play partner, and then I would walk on the treadmill at lunch, and I would practice memorizing my scripts as well. So I'm going to ask you to commit to at least an hour of script memorization every day. If it sounds overwhelming, it probably should. It's a lot. But nothing is going to give you more confidence than having the tools in your toolbox by having your scripts memorized. So 30 minutes a day with a role play partner, and then 30 minutes a day on your own in memorization. So Nick and I are going to role play the for sale by owner script here in a minute, and then we'll cover a couple of different objection handlers as well. Remember, we are smiling, we are enthusiastic, we're standing up. Ideally, we are in front of a mirror. Nick and I are going to go ahead and get started. You ready for me, Nick?
Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I'm ready.
Okay, all right. We'll see if I can list you. All right, ring, ring, ring. I'm calling. I'm calling for Nick.
Yeah, who's calling?
This is Emily Peckham with Keller Williams. I'm another real estate agent calling you. Am I lucky number 10?
Try number 27.
Number 27. What do I win? A free house?
What do you want?
Oh, well, Nick, you've got a beautiful home. Where are you moving
We're gonna move down to down to Florida to retire.
to? Okay, cool. What part?
Um, the sunny part.
The sunny part. Well, I would imagine that's most of Florida. My parents bought a home in the Villages, which is a big 55 plus community out there. And I
Mhm.
always joke with them, I really don't understand why you would ever buy a home in Florida that's not on the water.
That is true. I mean, there's really no point. Yeah, we're looking at some 55 plus communities.
Ah, okay, nice. Have you already got one in mind or got a home picked out, or are you still kind of
Yeah, I mean,
searching?
we have a place in mind, but we got to sell this to buy that. So, you
Okay,
know.
got to sell this to buy that. Got it. Well, Nick, I try not to sound like all the rest of the realtors who are calling you, but I just wanted to ask you if for some reason the home did not sell by owner, how long would you wait before you might interview an agent?
I'm pretty confident it's going to sell, so I really haven't thought about that.
Okay, pretty confident that it'll sell, so you haven't thought about how much time you might wait to list with an agent. Ideally, how soon would you be in Florida?
I mean, you know, obviously we'd like to be there sooner rather than later. So,
Hmm.
as soon as possible.
As soon as possible. Okay, I
Yeah.
mean, shoot, if I were in Florida, I want to be there yesterday. I
That's true.
assume,
Yesterday would
Nick,
be nice.
yesterday, I agree. I assume that if you're like most for sale by owners that I speak with, commission is the main reason that you had decided to list the home for sale by owner.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the big reasons that we haven't
One of the big
listed with an
reasons.
agent. Yeah.
Do you mind me asking what the other big one is?
I mean, I've owned a couple houses in my day, so I kind of know how to do it.
Okay, gotcha. So you've been through the process a handful of times, so you feel pretty confident that you could do it on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how hard
And
could it be?
I Hey, I don't have any doubts that you could sell it on your own either, to be honest with you. Let me ask you this. If there was a way that I could show you that I could sell the property for you and net you more money than you could selling it by owner, even after my commission is paid, is that something that you'd be interested in just looking at?
Yeah, but that sounds too good to be true, really.
I mean, hey, if you believe an agent could do that for you, you probably have already hired one, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If I thought you guys could do that, then I would have called one.
And if you were as confident as I am that by hiring me is how you will accomplish that, it probably makes sense for us to meet sooner rather than later, wouldn't it?
Um, yeah, I mean, do you have a buyer that you could bring?
I don't have a buyer for you right now, but Nick, let's sit down for just 15 or 20 minutes and I'll show you why so many people choose me to sell their homes. I have availability at 4:30 or 6 o'clock, which is better for you.
Um, yeah, I gotta check with my wife first to make sure that's something we could do.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I don't make decisions without my husband either, so I completely understand. Here's what I'll do. I will put you in the calendar, you and your wife, for 4:30 tomorrow. And then you check with your wife and I'll plan to be there at 4:30. But I'll follow up with you in the morning and just to remind you of that time. Sound good?
I mean, I really only have 20, 30 minutes, so
Oh,
can you
don't
can
worry.
you
I'll
get the
be in.
point across in that amount of time?
Absolutely. My presentation is about 15 to 20 minutes long.
All right, yeah, because I don't like long presentations.
Hey, I don't like long ones either, to be honest with you. So I'll see you tomorrow at 4:30. Looking forward to it, Nick.
Okay, what was your name again?
Emily Peckham with
Emily.
Keller
All right,
Williams.
thanks, Emily.
And if you need a script in the meantime to get all the rest of the realtors off the phone, you can just tell them that when you list your home, it'll be with Emily Peckham at Keller Williams, and I'll get them off the phone real quick.
It's good because you got to make them laugh. You got to break the ice.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm just having a conversation and there are implements or there are parts of that script that are objection handlers, but really
Well,
it's
I
just
noticed you
learning.
did a lot of, I noticed something very important that you did. You always repeated back what they said, which is super important.
Yeah. We need to make them understand or to let them know that we are listening to what they're saying and we
Hmm.
understand their objections. So that's the reason that we always repeat
Yeah.
before we're in the conversation. So yeah, so that is the script. Now obviously we have a pretty brilliant script if you ask me. However, we're always going to have objections, right? No matter how
Hmm.
awesome our script is when calling for sale by owners. Now, first things first, an objection is a good thing. So It's a good thing, right? Have you ever gone on an appointment with someone and they just kept saying, "Yep, sounds great," or
Mm-hmm.
they didn't express any questions or express any concerns that they might have? From personal experience, this is usually not a great thing. It generally means that they're not interested. And so even if
Right.
your prospect seems abrasive, at least it means that he or she is interested or invested. And so I want you to shift your mindset around objections to think of them as an unanswered question. So an objection means that a prospect needs more information. Asking questions or expressing concerns is how they gather that information. When they say, I need to think it over, what they're really saying yet is, I'm not yet convinced and I need additional information to be certain of a decision. Or if they're saying, I need to talk this over with my, friend, family member, banker, accountant, whoever it may be, what they're really saying is, I need approval or assurance. There's a difference between a condition and an objection. A objection is nothing more than an unanswered question. Somewhere in your presentation, you have either said something or failed to say or address something that leaves a question in the prospect's mind. It's fed back to you as an objection. The good thing is that it is something that is concrete, so it can be addressed and overcome. Now, a condition, on the other hand, that's an obstacle. A condition is a barrier or a condition that, or a situation that prevents a prospect from selling. Maybe they don't have any equity in the home, and they'd have to bring money to the closing table, or maybe they say, I can't make a decision without my spouse. So these are conditions that we cannot remedy, even with the most brilliant of listing presentations or objection handlers. Now we're going to discuss the framework in the master course of how to handle any objection, because every once in a while I get the most random of objections. But for the most part, there's going to be the main ones that are right here. Bring me a buyer. I have a friend in the business. Check back with me later. I don't need an agent. I can sell it myself. I've sold for sale by owner before. I'll just list the home flat fee MLS. I already have an agent that I would list with, or I don't see how you could do that. Another one that I forgot to add on this PowerPoint, and this is not new to the NIR stuff. This is an objection that I've always gotten. And that is, I don't want to pay a buyer's agent commission. So we will cover these top two today. I don't have time to go through all of them. But if you do sign up for the master course, we'll cover the rest of them at that point. So bring me a buyer. So I'll handle that one. So just to make sure that we're on the same page, Mr. For Sale by Owner, and most of the time they say, bring me a buyer and I'll pay you a commission. So just to make sure that we're on the same page, Mr. For Sale by Owner, you are hoping to save the additional percentage that would cost for you to hire me, right? And if you were as confident as I am that by hiring me, you would actually more than make up for that difference and put more money in your pocket, you'd probably go ahead and hire me, wouldn't you? I've got availability to meet at 4:30 or 6 o'clock, which is better for you. And then I have a friend in the business. Can we agree that the sale of your home is ultimately a business decision? In fact, it's one of the most important business decisions that you will ever make. With a decision that big, most people that I talk to will interview at least 2 or 3 agents, so you can be absolutely sure that you have the best person representing me. Let's go ahead and meet. I'll show you what sets me apart from all the other real estate agents out there and why so many people choose to list their homes with me. I've got availability at 4:30 or 6, which is better for you.
One
Now,
of
notice
the
I'm not saying,
Oh, I was gonna say
yeah, go ahead.
one objection handler that I like when someone says, "Well, my friend's a realtor and I'm gonna use them." One of the
Mhm.
handlers for that is I like to say, you know, would you hire your friend because they're your friend or because they're the right person for the job? You know what I mean? So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times it's because they're the friend.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, so those are probably the main two that I get. And then there's a handful more, but the point is, if you've got the main ones memorized, then you can handle any objection.
Yeah, because really
And again, we'll cover.
there's really only 5 or 6 objections that you're gonna hear over and over again from a FSBO.
Yeah, yep, exactly. And that's why I also have more than one objection handler for each objection, because sometimes they'll give it to you again, and so I'll try the next objection handler on them. So moving on, let's talk about follow-up. So guys, follow-up is the name of the game. I sat down at the end of 2020 It says 103. I had sold 104 homes that year. And I had some major ahas around this when I reviewed my numbers. So like I said, I sold 4 homes. 49 of those,
Wow.
actually, it was closer to 50, were for sale by owner homes. Of those 49, 37 said yes to me, to an appointment with me on the very first phone call that I reached out
That's
to
a
them. Of
huge
the,
amount
Mhm.
out of
Yeah,
almost 50 that you called. That's huge.
yeah. A lot of them said yes.
Wow.
Of those 37 that had agreed to an appointment with me, 25 of those agreed to list with me on the very first appointment. And then
Wow.
12 of
Okay.
those 49 agreed to meet with me on the first call. It took more follow-up. Of those 12, 5 agreed to list with me on the initial appointment. So let's just assume that I had stopped following up altogether. I would have sold 25 for sale by owner homes that year instead of 50. My
Mhm.
average commission that year was about $9,000. So that is $225,000 in GCI that I would have missed out on. That is a lot of money. So, so much of my success has come from consistent follow-up. So we'll talk about, what do I say? How often do I follow up? And then I'll give you guys some tools that you can use in your follow-up with for sale by owners. And this is applicable to really any business, not just for sale by owners. So first things first, regardless of whether or not I set the for sale by owner on that initial call or not, I am going to send them a text with my contact card. So my contact card is completely filled out with my website, my social handles, my email address, all that good stuff. I also save my contact as Emily Peckham Realtor. And the reason I do this is because I also send them along with that a video. It's like a nice to meet you video, and I'll play it for you here in a second. In that video, I say, hey, go ahead and save my contact card. I've got it saved as Emily Peckham Realtor. That way, when you forget who I am, which is no worries, I know you're getting a ton of phone calls, you can just search realtor in your phone and you can remember me that way if you forget my name. So I send that contact card, and then I also send them this nice to meet you video. And I'll go ahead and play that for you all. Now this is
Cool.
something you could either film a very generic one that would be, you could send out to anybody. Or if you wanted to take it a step further, you could literally film a new nice to meet you video for every single for sale by owner that you spoke with, and it could be more specific to that person. So Nick, I really enjoyed meeting with you today, or speaking with you today. I'm super jealous that you're moving to Florida. I hope that you get to play lots of pickleball and golf. And I just wanted to send you this quick message to put a face to the name and to thank you for taking my call and let you know that I sent you my contact card above. And please go ahead and save that so that
You
next
may
time
need
I
to
reach out
share
to you.
your video audio. You may need to share your audio if you haven't done that. You know
Oh,
how to do that
yes.
in advanced settings when you share your screen, and then share computer
Hey, this
audio.
is Emily Peckham with Keller Williams. I just
Oh, it's working. Okay, great.
Wait, working? Okay, I
I
must
heard
have
it.
already got
Yeah.
it set up.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right. So here's that.
Hey, this is Emily Peckham with Keller Williams. I just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today over the phone. It was so nice to meet you, and below you will find my contact card. Go ahead and save me to your contacts, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future.
All right. So there is that. And then my level of follow-up is really going to be dependent on how motivated that for sale by owner
Hi,
is.
my name's Debbie Barnes, and I just
So if I just have motivation by asking good questions, and one thing that we'll cover in the master course is a whole list of questions that you can ask for sale by owners to both build rapport with them and to determine their motivation. But if they're highly motivated, I'm going to follow up with them every day, if not every other day. And
So how
I
can you
want
tell if
to,
someone's highly like what are the signs to look for if someone's highly motivated or not?
yeah, great question. So like in your situation, you're moving to Florida. Let's say that you had told me like you've already got a home picked out there and you want to be there in like 2 or 3 months. That would be someone who's motivated, someone who is relocating for a job, someone that you might ask them, how soon are they looking to be there? And they say within the next anywhere from 1 to 4 or 5 months, I would say is probably pretty motivated.
Mhm.
So just by diving deeper and finding out like, okay, what's the reason behind this move? Like,
Yeah.
are you because you're getting overwhelmed with the square footage that you have in your home and you want to, downsize, or that might be someone who's fairly motivated, someone who wants to be closer to their grandkids. They already have a home picked out. So it's all about asking questions and kind of engaging in that conversation to determine someone's motivation. Now, just because someone tells me that they're not motivated doesn't necessarily mean that they're not motivated. That might just be a tactic to get me off the phone.
Right.
And so that's why it's important to really ask those questions. And I'll give you, in the master course, you'll have a whole list of questions that you could ask. But I mean, think about it. Do you think that a for sale by owner would list their home on Zillow, go through the process of getting all these phone calls, taking pictures, if they weren't at least a little bit motivated? Now, on the flip side, though, if they list their home for $100,000 higher than, what it's clearly worth, and they are not willing to budge on their price and they don't really have anywhere to be, then they're probably not super motivated. Or if they say, well, if I can get at least X amount, then, then I'll move. That's probably not someone who's super motivated.
True.
So is a motivated seller, then I'm going to, again, send them that text with my contact card and a nice to meet you video. And then I'll also send them a video that is this getting tired of the calls video. I'll play this for you guys as well. Now this would be like later that afternoon. So you had sent them in the morning after you got off the phone with them, a text with your contact card. And then later that afternoon, you could send them a video like this.
Hey, it's Emily Peckham again. As I mentioned earlier, you're probably going to get a ton of phone calls from real estate agents. So if you need a script to get them off the phone, you can just tell them that when you list your home, it'll be with Emily Peckham of Keller Williams Realty. Have a wonderful day.
All right. And again, that was something that I said to Nick over the phone. You can also, you can say that over the phone. You can also send them the video. And then another thing that I do is I ask all my past clients to film like short little testimonial videos of their experience working with me. And so maybe the next day, I would send them this testimonial video.
Hi, my name's Debbie Barnes, and I just want to tell you that my husband and I just recently sold and then purchased a new home, and we used Emily Peckham with Keller Realty. She has been just so easy to work with, informative, does the legwork that she needs to do, and is with you through the whole process from beginning to end. And we couldn't be happier. We've worked with other realtors before, but this was the easiest, stress-free experience that we've had, and made a good friend in the process. So if you're thinking of buying or selling, please use Emily. We are so happy that we did. Thank you, Em.
All right. So notice I didn't send the camera crew out to Miss Barnes' house. I mean, it was kind of blurry. It doesn't matter. Like, just text your past clients, ask them if they might film a 30-second video for you. It does not have to be anything fancy. So at this point, we're 3 days in. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call the for sale by owner. I'm going to check in with them. I'm going to ask them how their activity has been. I'm going to see if they need anything. I'm going to ask them if they're ready to meet. And I'm going to call them at least every 2 or 3 days and continue on with these testimonial videos. Now, one thing that we'll do in the master course is I'm going to give you two different 30 to 60 day follow-up plans with for sale by owners that you can literally just plug and play. And then I'll also give you 30 plus follow-up ideas specific to for sale by owners. Guys, what you say when you're calling the for sale by owner to follow up with them is not as important as how often you're saying it and the fact that you are calling and following up with them. It is more about staying top of mind. I always get asked, what do you say? I don't know what to say. Look, do not complicate it, right? This might sound wild, but after the initial phone call, what you say is not the most important thing. I'm not saying it doesn't matter at all, but it's not the most important thing. Normally when I call, I'll try and build rapport with them. I might say, hey, it's me again. Do you remember me against all the 50 realtors that I'm sure you probably heard from at this point? Or, sometimes they might completely forget who I am, and that's totally fine too. So I might say, hey, Nick, it's Emily Peckham. I'm sure you probably don't even remember who I am, but you and I had a conversation about Florida. I'm super jealous that you're moving there. In fact, I might need to pack my bags and I'll be right there behind you. But I know you might not remember me. You and I had talked last week, and it's been about a week since you and I had talked over the phone. I know I've been sending you those videos and testimonials and stuff like that, but I just wanted to check in with you now that it's been a week and see what your experience has been on the market for sale by owner. And I wanted to see if you might be ready to meet with me. I've got availability at 4:30 or 6 o'clock, which is better for you. I'm always trying to close for the appointment when I do talk to them. But just keep it simple, you know, ask them how their activity has been, ask them if they need anything from you. That's pretty much it. So that is pretty much all that we got time for today, although we are going to open it up for questions. So I want to make sure that I get all your questions answered. But if you enjoyed what we've covered today and you want to take it a step further, in fact, if you want to take it multiple steps forward, then you need to sign up for the master course. It is 3 sessions long. We start on June 19th, and then we have another session on the 26th, and then on the 8th. I've spent hundreds of hours putting this together. This is everything that you could ever possibly need to list as many for sale by owners as you would like to, assuming that you are willing to implement the materials that we'll learn. And we'll talk more about motivation behind implementing and how to go about implementing in the course as well. But it's 3 sessions. Session 1 is around mindset and gratitude and affirmations. We'll talk about problems that for sale by owners face. We'll talk about why for sale by owners list for sale by owner. That way we can cater our presentation to their specific reason for listing for sale by owner. We'll talk more about tips for calling and memorizing scripts. We'll talk a lot about building rapport. How do we have these natural conversations with for sale by owners? Because that is huge. And that's one of the main reasons that I do have success with them. We'll really unpack that for sale by owner call script. And we'll actually watch live videos of me calling for sale by owners, both in which I've set an appointment and those that I haven't. And we'll get to watch those. We'll also watch videos of me handling all the different objections. I'll cover all the objections that you could ever need that you might hear from a for sale by owner. And then in session 2, we'll talk all about follow-up. We'll make sure that we're abundantly clear on the answer to the question, how do I follow up? What do I say? I'll give you specific follow-up plans that you can implement. And then I'll give you, it says 23, but it's actually closer to about 30 follow-up ideas that you can use with for sale by owners. Then we'll talk about the importance of the pre-qualification process. I'll give you my pre-qual script. And then, and this is not listed on here, but I've also interviewed 3 past clients that were for sale by owners. So you'll have access to those interviews. And I asked them questions like, what was your impression of the realtors who were calling you your first several days on the market? And what did you like and dislike about your time for sale by owner before you hired me? And what set me apart from the other realtors that were calling you and ultimately led you to list your home with me? So those are some really, really valuable interviews in there. And then, and last but not least,
I was just gonna say, like, this is pretty in depth.
Yeah. In session 3, we talk about the pre-listing presentation, what all it includes, what are the benefits, how do we deliver it? We'll talk about the appointment, how to prepare, what to bring. I'll give you access to my listing presentation. You'll have that. We'll also have all the different objection handlers that you could ever need. So we'll make sure that we're clear on how we're netting these for sale by owners more money. I get that question all the time. And then we'll talk about follow-up post-appointment. I had someone that took this class back in March that said that this was the most downloads and course materials that they have received in any real estate training ever. So you're going to have so many downloads, like I said, listing presentation, so many scripts,
and by the way, I dropped the link in the chat, so just scroll up like a little bit. How much does the class cost?
Yeah, so the class is $500. However, this week, if you sign up between June 3rd and June 7th, the class is early bird $425. So
I mean, I just feel like even $500 to then, you know, just have everything that you're doing. I mean, the ROI on this class is, if you do the work, is huge.
I did the math, actually. The median sales price in the United States is $420,000. If you listed the home at $12,000 commission and sold a home as a result of taking this class, you would 30x your investment.
Well, there you go.
So much. I'm going to show you one or two little testimonial videos, and then we're going to open it up for questions at that point. And I'm happy
We'll
to
go
stay
back to the
on
QR
for...
code real quick. So you can either
Okay.
scan the QR code or click the link that I posted in the chat, whatever is easier for you.
Yep.
Whatever is easier for you. So scan the QR code or click the link. What's the price 150 to 500? What's that? Oh, because of the discounts for, okay.
For a member of Inspire group, and
All
then
right.
420.
So if you're a member of James Shaw Inspire Collective, you get a really
Excuse
good
me,
discount.
150. No, 150 is if you've already taken the class before.
Oh, so like alumni.
Yes, that is for alumni. Yep.
That's good.
And then I'm gonna share two little videos with you guys real quick, and then we'll open it up for questions after that.
Emily Peckham's FSBO course is hands down probably the best real estate related class that I have taken the whole time that I've gotten my license. And that's the honest to God truth. She doesn't pull back. She doesn't hold anything back from beginning to end. Templates, text messages, the presentation, everything that she does, she provides it, the scripts, everything. You are so prepared and confident. All you have to do is go implement it. If you're willing to put the work in, you can build a business just off of this course. I'm so grateful that I took it, and I'm already seeing the benefits. So I definitely recommend take the class.
Awesome.
All right, I'll watch one more.
Emily Peckham is a genius person. She is absolutely the best there is in talking about FSBOs. I learned so much from her class. It's incredibly well organized. She gives you everything you could possibly need to create FSBOs as part of your business. And she's just genuinely a wonderful person. I've reached out to her personally with questions on a couple of occasions, and she's always gotten back to me. Must add, take that class.
Love
All
it.
right, so I hope that you all will sign up, but at the very least, I hope that you got a lot of value out of today's presentation. And I'll go ahead and open it up for questions at this point.
There is one question. I'm assuming this has to do with the videos or whatever you might be sending to people. But are you personally sending everything yourself to these FSBOs, like after you meet with them or before you meet with them? Or is there any sort of automated aspect to it?
I am. I've done it both ways in the past, and I just do it from my phone. I have a library of YouTube links and also a library of like a folder in my phone or of FSBO videos. And I do it that way because I want to be able to save their contact card. And I've had trouble, just doing it via CRM in the past. This way, when they call me and they respond to that, I've got their info already saved, and I can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Angela, how's it going?" And they know that, I've got them saved and I know who that is calling me. So
Awesome.
that's the way that
Yeah, does anyone have any questions? Okay. Do you work alone or do you have helpers or a team?
I have a transaction coordinator.
Okay. But otherwise it's just you. Someone asked way early on, are you focusing on just listings or also represent buyers?
I do present buyers. Probably 60% of my business is listings.
Awesome. I mean, and that's where the leverage is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you just had a new baby, so you want to spend as much time with your baby. So having buyers, you won't be able to do that as much. Any other questions, guys? If not, how can they contact you if they do have questions about the course, or maybe there's something that pops into their head after they watch this and they just didn't get a chance to ask you? What's the best way for them to contact you?
I will put my email, emily@thepeckhamgroup.com. Y'all are welcome to email me. And then also I do have a mastermind group on Facebook. It's called Emily Peckham's FSBO Mastermind Group. And that is a great way for people to go on there. There's tons of questions that get asked. I'll occasionally go live and call for sale by owner, so you can watch me call the FSBOs. So I recommend joining that group as well.
Okay, sweet. Someone's asking, will the presentation be available to review? So John, the replay of this webinar will be posted in the next couple days on the Lab Code Agents YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, type in Lab Coat Agents in the search bar, and go subscribe, hit the bell. So when it does get uploaded, you get notified and you can watch as many times as you want.
Yep.
Easy peasy.
Have any questions?
Yeah, so awesome. I don't see any other questions, but there were comments and questions throughout. Probably everybody is just picking their jaw up off the floor right now from the amazing value that you brought. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's a great investment. Just full disclosure, Lab Coat Agents has no connection to the class. We don't get paid if you sign up. There's no affiliate, so I'm just saying it like personally, just based on her success. She's proving that what she's doing is working. So there'd be no reason for you not to invest the 500 or 425. Can you drop the link to the mastermind group in the chat, Emily?
Oh yeah, Emily Peckham's FSBO Mastermind Group. There you go.
Okay, so just
Oh, that's
copy
not
and paste that into the search bar. Is on YouTube? I mean, it's on Facebook.
Yep, it's on Facebook. Let me see if I can go grab the link real quick and I'll put it in there.
Okay, Heather says, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the class. Awesome. Looks like Heather's signing up.
Awesome. Heather, I will see you there. Let's see here. I'm just going to copy this link real quick and then I'll put it in the chat. All right, just linked the Emily Peckham's FSBO Mastermind Group in the chat.
Awesome. Oh no, that was just to hosts and panelists. So let me send it to everybody.
I'm a little
there you go. I got it. There's the link to the
that's it.
Facebook group. Grab it real quick before we log off. Otherwise, email Emily at what was it? Emily at the Peckham group. Yeah, Emily at the Peckham group.com if you have any questions. Okay, John wants to know real quick. Have you noticed that there's been less FSBOs over the last few years than in previous years?
Maybe a handful, but not many, to be honest with you. I have so my husband and I traveled last year in our RV for 8 months, took a little sabbatical. So I wasn't calling for sale by owners then. And then I came back and now I have a 6-month-old daughter. So I have been now calling for sale by owners for about 3 months. I have listed 10 since
You've been
I got
calling
back.
for 3 months since you've been back.
Yes, since I've
Right.
been back, or since
Okay.
I've been back from originally from traveling in the RV, and then I had my daughter, so I had some time off with her. And
Okay,
started
so in the
calling back
last 3 months, you've listed 7 FSBOs.
10.
10 FSBOs. That's like, how many a week is that? Do the math. I can't do it.
Like one or that's 12 weeks. So like essentially one.
It's like basically one a week.
Yeah.
Guys, can you imagine? You don't have to imagine. You can just do it.
Yeah.
I'm
so
not in
I
production currently anymore. So if I was still in production, I would take the class. But that's awesome. Well, thanks, Emily. This is awesome. Love it. Go like the Facebook group. Go join it. Sign up for the class. Go subscribe to the Lab Coat Agents YouTube channel. And that way, when this video gets uploaded, you'll get notified and you can watch it as many times as you want. Ronaldo, he's asking if the expired script is different than the FSBO. Emily doesn't do expireds, but an expired script is not the same because they've already listed with an agent. So it's not, you know what I mean? They've already decided to do that. So no, I don't, it's a different script. But anyway, thanks, Emily.
You're so welcome. Thank you. Hope to see everybody there. And feel free to reach out to me with questions.
All right, everyone have a great day. Go list some FSBOs. Bye.